Good evening, everyone. How are we doing today? It's Friday Thoughts. I thought I would hit you up with something that I've had a few DMs about, and that is taking the plunge from running a woodworking hobby, I guess, and making it into a woodworking business. The things you have to be thinking about, the problems with that, and our take on it. So I've got some notes, not too many, but I'm going to start smashing through these because you know I like to ramble, and I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes, but we'll see. Hey, so a lot of people think about taking the plunge. It's quite a romanticised thing, running your own business. It's awesome, but it's also extremely difficult, and you need to be honest with yourself about how it's going to go, the type of person that you are, what you can cope with, what you can't cope with, what you're prepared to work, the work that you're prepared to put in, the hours that you're prepared to put in, the sacrifices you're going to make, right? And we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later. But you've got to be honest with yourself, because you don't want to get rid of your job, you don't want to invest a load of money and then be in a position that you hate, because that would suck. So from our point of view, it's about, we'd rather give things a go and it fail than, because failing's okay, right? Failing isn't a problem. It's what you do after the failing that matters. But yeah, it's better to give something a go and it not work out than spend all of that for the rest of your life thinking about whether you should have done it or not. So first off, bad, right? I'm not here to sugarcoat it. You've got to be honest with yourself. Like I just said, you need to be honest about what you can do, what you can't do. It's a lot of hard work. I won't lie to you. It's probably more, I like working. I'm a bit of a grafter, and it's more work than I thought it was going to be. But it's more work that it's not the woodworking side of the stuff that's difficult, it's the admin. I spend more time in there than I do in here working, and that grates on me a little bit. And I think maybe last year we were going to look at getting an admin staff in. Obviously with the way everything changed this year, that knocked that on the head. But there's a lot of admin to do. There's I wrote a list here. Quotes, just general admin, emails, finding and dealing with suppliers, chasing up clients, taxes, banks. There's a huge amount of forward planning. Right, we're in December now, so if you're running a woodworking company now in December, you need to be thinking about what you're going to be selling in spring and summer. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I'm sure there's a whole world of things that I haven't put on there. But it is part of the grind. You just got to suck it up and deal with it. But you need to be aware that you're going to have to deal with those things as you go into it. There's no holiday, there's no sick pay. Not too much of an issue if you may be in the States, you haven't got a pretty good contract. Over in the UK and the EU, you get a nice amount of holiday, a nice amount of sick pay, and not having that sucks. I've injured my back and I've had to work. I've injured my wrist and I've had to work. I've had to come into work with a fever of 102 because there's things that need to be done. Both Michelle and I have been sick. Both of us have been sick, and we've both had to come into work, and that sucks. But it is what it is. There's swings and roundabouts in everything that you do, and you've got to be prepared to deal with that when it arises. The buck stops with you. There are no excuses. There's nobody to turn to and say it's their fault. There's nobody to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I can't do that for you. Maybe go speak to mate over there." Doesn't matter. You are the one and only. If it's your business, it's your responsibility. Even if you have staff, it's your responsibility. Because there are a lot of people relying on you. Your clients, it's maybe not so much of an issue with a small thing, but it could be something for somebody's birthday present, Christmas present, and screwing that up is going to cause a lot of upset, and you don't want to be creating that negativity in the world. And for big clients, they are relying on you, and a lot of times if you say you're going to get it Tuesday and it's not there Tuesday, they're stuffed. So you've got to be real on that. You've got to be on that. And did I say there's no excuses, right? There's no excuses. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. You've got to suck it up and get on with it and deal with it. But the good though, right? You're your own boss. You don't have to work with idiots. And I hate working with idiots. I've worked with lots of them, and they wind me up something chronic. So, big perk, no idiots. I'm sure Michelle would say different, but yeah, that's the best thing in the world, right? You can pick and choose when you work. You can pick and choose who you want to work. It's very easy to become overwhelmed when you're running your own business, but you have to remember, you are the boss, you make the choices. If you don't want to work, you don't have to work, but it might be, I don't want to work, I need some time off, and that might be, I'm going to have some time off in 2 or 3 weeks once I've got all my projects done. So, I mean, that's worth bearing in mind. Long term, the money's been good. Hopefully, it's not in the short term. Nobody starts a business to be making huge amounts of money. Nobody starts a woodworking business to be making a huge amount of money to begin with. It's just not going to happen. If it does for you, awesome, great. For the most of us, that's not the way that it is. You're doing something you enjoy though, right? And that's half the battle. Like I said, I've had jobs that I've hated, I've despised, they've been soul destroying, but I don't. And I have difficult days, I have days where we struggle, but that's all part of the fun, right? It's all part of the challenge. So how did we start? We started out in an 8x8 garage. I built a table saw from a motor and some 18mm MDF for Michelle. She started out doing the business between school hours. I helped out when it started to get busy and things started to go well. I was working 40 hours a week plus travelling. I then came home and worked 30, 40 hours a week with Shelley. We worked weekends, we worked right up till Christmas, over Christmas. It was hard. I missed out on a bunch of stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit, but it was worth it because we had an end game, right? We knew what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to be self-sufficient, and so it was worth it. Yeah, we stayed there for about 18 months. We moved into the unit after about 18 months. We stayed there for 2 years. We spent time upgrading our gear. We moved into here. We've been here 18 months, maybe, something like that. And again, we've spent most of our money upgrading our gear because that's what you do, right? You reinvest, and then you reap the benefits. Yeah, we picked up bigger clients as we got bigger. It enabled us to do more work. So there is a progression, and it is worthwhile, but it is a lot of work. And yeah, there's good days and there's bad days, right? I'm sure I've said it. There's good days where you think, this is amazing. I cannot believe I didn't do this sooner. And then there's days where you sit there and you're like, man, what have I done? What am I going to do? But if you have the right mindset and you want to follow it through and you want to make it work, you'll make it work. Because you will. Because we're all stronger than we think we are. So what do you need to be thinking about, right? You need to be thinking about who your clients are, what clients you have, the clients in your local area. Is it a viable business? You know, are you going to be able to make the money? We do a lot of our sales online, so it makes it a lot easier. That might not necessarily be the case for you, so you need to make sure you've got the clients. You also need to make sure you don't have too many eggs in one basket, because that will suck if you lose one. You know, if you get 80% of your money from one client and then that client decides to go somewhere else, or they shut down, or things don't work out for them, you know, like a global pandemic, then you're stuffed, right? So you need to make sure that you're playing the field a little bit to be able to look after your business, because a lot of people will drop you as soon as they get a better offer. So you've just got to bear that in mind. Do you have savings to see through the bad times, right? So you're going to need 3 to 6 months worth of savings to pay bills, whether that's pay your bills at home, whether that's pay bills at home and pay for the workshop, pay for your gear, pay for your loan payments, pay for your vehicle payments, your medical insurance, anything and everything that you need to pay for, you need to have 3 to 6 months worth there. We didn't, it was difficult, but we made it through. You can make it through, but I would always recommend to people you have plenty of money there to fall back on if you need to. Mistakes are going to be made, right? You have to understand you're going to screw up, and you've got to be able to deal with that. This kind of goes back to what sort of individual you are, but you have to be able to deal with screwing things up, sucking it up, and moving on. You can't sit there and dwell on stuff. And I'm not perfect, right? I might sit there and dwell on it for an hour or two, but you've got to be able to have a brew, get on with it, because there's other people relying on you, and you've got to pay the bills. You need a business plan, right? Everybody needs a business plan. You need to have an idea of what direction you're going to, because otherwise you'll just meander around, you'll waste your time and you'll waste your money, and it's not the way you want to be. Pricing, right? Sort your pricing structure out. If you don't have a pricing structure, why don't you have a pricing structure? How much is your hourly rate? If you want to charge £10-15 an hour, awesome. You're not going to be able to run it as a business. It won't work, right? You want to do it out of your shed, maybe. But if you want to make proper money, you want to do, come on, as I say, you want to play with the big boys, then you're going to have to sort your pricing structure out. There's a video by a guy called Gospel's Handyman. He does an excellent video on it. There's a video by a couple called Jenny and Davis. They do an excellent video on it. They're all, you know, the pair of them are around about the same sort of money. So if you've got two good quality companies doing it, and they're saying this is the right amount, then that's really what you should be looking at charging. I am forever having conversations with people who say that we don't know, or like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, mate, we've got this in 6 years, what have you done in the last 6? I hate to be that guy, but you need to sort your pricing structure out. So that includes your hourly rate, covering your bills, paying for your tooling, paying for your sharpening, paying for your timber. Yeah, it's not, I can do a whole video on it, so if you want one, let us know, but you really need to keep an eye on that. So ultimately, what is your end game? Right, because I see we're over 10 minutes. What is your end game? And that's in life as well as with the business, right? What do you want out of it? Do you want to make loads of money? How does your life plan look? Do you have a life plan? If you don't, have a think about it. Yeah, it's really, really, really important, because you don't want to spend years investing time and effort and money and blood, sweat, tears into something that you then go, I don't want it anymore, and then you've kind of reset yourself, and you don't want that, man. So have a think, be honest, and yeah. And what type of person are you, right? Are you a grafter? Are you going to rest on your laurels? Are you going to get up on a Sunday morning and come down here at 6 o'clock because there's a rush hour that needs to go out for Monday morning and people are relying on you? Are you going to stay here till 10 o'clock at night to get the job done? It doesn't happen all the time. You know, family is important. Business isn't everything. Money isn't everything. But what are you going to do? Yeah, so this is like sort of leads into the questions that you need to ask yourself. How hard are you prepared to work? Do you want to work 35 hours a week? Do you want 3 days a week? Do you want to work 80 hours a week? Are you prepared to put that time in as and when it needs to be done? Money, like I said, money and business aren't everything, but if you want to succeed, you've got to be prepared to like smash it when it needs to be smashed. And what are you prepared to sacrifice, right? I've sacrificed days out with friends, we've sacrificed holidays, we drive around in an old car. Like my Volvo's like old, like 16 years old, 17 years old. It still runs, it's awesome, it's great, but it's not a brand new motor. I don't have like a £400 or £500 thingy payment. I don't spend loads of money on audio kit. We don't go out for nice meals all the time, we don't go on holidays, but we are building an opportunity for us and for the children. And that's what's important to us. We would much rather reinvest the money in the business than go out and have a spanking meal or buy a nice pair of boots or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, business isn't everything, but it's what's important to you. So yeah, I mean, that's my take on it. Those are my questions that I would ask you if that's what you said you wanted to do. I would be really interested if you've watched all the way to the end. Thank you very much. I'd really be interested in what you think, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, whether I've missed anything out, and yeah, whether you I'm really interested in what you guys think. If I'm massively off the mark, or whether it's different for you in a different country, whether you've got different issues if you're in the States or what. But yeah, let us know. You have a good one. You take it easy, and I will catch you next time. See you then.